اللهم بارك لنا مجلسنا اللهم افتح لنا أبواب رحمتك اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية والمعافاة الدائمة في الدين والدنيا والآخرة اللهم بارك لنا أولادنا بسم الله والحمد لله. This recitation that you heard at the beginning from this Surah Ar-Rahman has an ayah that is repeated several times. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. One of the meanings of this ayah, the central word is فَبِأَيِّ آلَاء. Allah is one of the words, key words in this particular ayah, and it has two aspects. One is that of blessings, and this is the normal translation that we hear. Which of the blessings of your Lord would you deny? The second is the qudra, the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the blessings part that we heard today, and we hear it often, contains the blessings of our children. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted us children who are our blessings. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also tells us that they are a fitna. They are also a test. They are a blessing in many ways when we raise them according to how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us to raise them. Then they are a blessing. And one of the things that our Prophet taught us is that when we go, and we all have to go at one point from this dunya, if we leave behind one of the three things, if we leave behind children who continue the good deeds, then that is a blessing for us even after we have left. And they are a fitna, they are a trial for us as well, because you know how much it takes to raise a child. They used to say that it takes the whole village to raise a child, but now it takes the whole world to raise a child. And one of the things that really is important in children's upbringing is the education that we give them. Now, education is at home, education is at school, education is everywhere. When I was coming here, I was calculating there are 178 school days in a year, which is 365 days. And out of each day, the number of hours the children are in the classroom or in the school, you know how many hours are there. What is the rest of their day like? That's part of their education. So when we started this program, one of the things we thought about was, how do we start a program of education that brings children closer to their Creator? What brings children closer to their Creator is a sense of the awe, the understanding, the consciousness, which is called taqwa. Taqwa is the consciousness that we all have of the Creator. Higher the degree of taqwa, closer we are to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the whole effort of Sakinah program is basically to bring us closer to the Creator. This is a program of learning that delivers Alberta program of studies from the Quranic worldview. This is a very big statement. I want to unpack it a little bit tonight so that there is clarity about what we are doing and how we are doing it. Sakinah Circle is a program within a public school system. It's not an independent school. Public school system has various ways of serving the community. It has faith-based programs, it has philosophy-based programs, and it has sports-based programs. It has other ways of alternating programs. Sakinah Circle is a philosophy-based program. And this is slightly difficult to understand when we say Sakinah Circle is an alternative program within a public school system, within Edmonton Public Schools, that delivers Alberta program of studies from the Quranic worldview. It means that the philosophy on which this program is based is derived from the Quranic perspective of looking at life, looking at education, looking at tarbiyah, looking at how we raise children, looking at how we live. So it's not just limited to the classroom. It is a worldview that covers the entirety of our life. It started it started as a home education effort. Then it went to, one day, Elma and I, we went to the principal of the home learning education. Most of you probably know about it, the Argyle Center. And we said that Edmonton Public Schools has alternative programs for all kinds of faith groups. Why don't you have something for Muslims? They said, but no one has ever asked us about it. So we said, well, we asked you now. So from that moment, from that day, it took 3 years to negotiate with the district the parameters of this program. Then we were a pilot program for 2 years, and finally on the 23rd of March 2010, the Board of Trustees passed this resolution to start an alternative program that delivers the Alberta Program of Studies from the Quranic worldview, and we ended up in Grace Martin. Because when they polled the postal codes of the interested parents, this was the community that showed the greatest interest. This program could not have existed. It could not have started without the participation of parents. There were 300 parents who showed up in the first meeting that was organized in 2009 during the conversations we had. So that kind of participation showed to the district that there is interest in this program. So 2 components of the program is what actually happens in the class, in the school, and the second, the parent participation. And all parents are an essential part of the program in that sense. So from this humble beginning in 2010, when we started, we have learned many lessons. The very first lesson was that it is easier to say that we deliver Alberta Program of Studies from the Quranic worldview, but it's difficult to implement it because we don't want to sprinkle Islam or the Quran onto a secular curriculum. This happens all the time. We have a totally secular worldview in the curriculum, and then we say Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, and we think it has become Islamic. It hasn't become Islamic. So the difficulty is to reform. If we don't have halal keema, no matter how many spices we put in it, it's never going to be halal kebabs. So the difficulty that we faced was to have teachers, have resources, have the approach that will reform, that will actually start from the beginning and slaughter the animal and say Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, and now this is halal, and now we can do the diversity part. Because if you have the halal keema, you can make the Moroccan kebabs or you can make Pakistani kebabs, they're all halal. This is within the broader perspective, broader spectrum of Islam. So we are not ethnicity based. Because the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the book for us that bypasses ethnicity, race, culture, place, space, time. It's an eternal message. It's very simple at its foundation. In order to do that, all the parents, the district, the teachers, the principals, there are so many components of this program. All of these have to work in harmony with each other. If something is missing, then the whole program is missing something. So over these 12 years, we have had several different efforts to enrich and deepen this program. One of the things we haven't been able to do as much as we want to do is to reach out to the parents and the community and explain what do we mean by it. How do we do it? What is your role? Then the COVID came and 3 years kind of washed away lots of things. Now we are at a point where this year we want to have a review. Everything that anyone does requires at some point assessment and review. Where are we going with this effort? This thing started 15 years ago. What is the future of this program? Is it going to grow to, we have parents asking what happens after grade 6? Where would my child go? We have parents who come and they say, well, there is no more room left. Do we want to have this program continue after grade 6? do we want to have a full school dedicated to this program? Do we have enough support in the city? I know there are people who drive for 1 hour to get to the school. But this is an outreach effort that would inshallah benefit the entire community. It's not for any individual. If we all join hands to say, well, we are part of this community. We are here, our children are here, their children are going to be here, inshallah. What is it that we need to do for the education? We don't have the resources to build our own schools yet, like certain other communities have the resources. Muslims don't have that kind of resources in this country yet. Our numbers are not that much. We are within the public school system. But are we going to remain limited to where we have been? These are the questions that we want to discuss this year, and your participation is absolutely essential for that. In addition to volunteer work, there is something called Sakinah Society, of which you may not know, you may know. You are all automatically, all the parents and guardians of students registered in this program, they are the members of this Sakinah Society. Now, what does Sakinah Society do in the program is very important for many reasons. Number one, this is the voice of the parents. Without the parents' presence, without the voice of the parents, this program cannot exist. If there is no demand for a certain program, it just closes down. What can you do to make this program known to other members of the community? You may have 3, 4, 5 friends in the city. They may have children. They may not have ever heard of this program, what does it do? So your greater participation at that level is absolutely essential for the growth of the program. Now, formally, there is a board that represents the parents at different levels. Depending on the needs, when we started out, we went to the district, we went to the administration. School wasn't involved at that time, but now we have the school and the district. And then there are the city councillors. There are many levels at which education system operates, from the Ministry of Education to the school board, to the school itself, to the local councillor, to the local member of the provincial assembly. All of these levels are where the voice of the Muslim community needs to be heard. So this board, we are hoping that some of you would come forward and join this board. And there are 4 positions. Inshallah, we'll put up the description of these 4 positions on the website soon, which I want to show you now. And in November, the 8th of November is the date when we are going to have the selection or election, depending on how many people come forward. What we are looking for is leadership. The chairperson of this board would be in conversation with the principal, with the district, with the teachers at different levels if we are to grow. If we are to make an effort to grow from KG to grade 6 to, for example, junior high, or if we want to make an effort to have a whole school dedicated to this program, in both cases we need to open conversations. There is a process for it. The district has already done this process for other alternative schools. They have cloned one alternative program in many places in the city because the demand was there. There is no reason why Sakinah Circle cannot be cloned for other communities in the city. We had demand from the north side, for example. Some parents came to us and said, why don't we have a Sakinah Circle program there, because it's hard to come here. Within this community also, I think there is enough room for growth. So the person or the people who would come forward, we will inshallah have all the information on the website, and that's where we are hoping to go. If you want to, you have any questions, I want to show you the website. Ready? Is it? So this is the Sakinah Circle website. I'm sure many of you have probably already seen. And this is the page for volunteers. as Randy was saying, what is it that you can contribute to the program? There is a whole component of experiential learning, hands-on learning. Maybe some of you know how to weave a basket. Maybe somebody knows how to do calligraphy. Maybe there are other traditional arts. One thing I didn't say before, that in addition to the actual Quranic worldview, this program is deeply rooted in Islamic intellectual tradition, which means that we try to bring resources from within the Islamic intellectual tradition, whether it's sciences, whether it's arts, whether it's poetry, language. The beauty of that is just enormous. It's just enormous. If you think of grade 6 Sakinah Circle graduating from this, who has an understanding of the giants of this tradition. Like if you tell a grade 6, grade 7 student, just to say the word Einstein, anybody on the street, Einstein, everybody knows Einstein. But how many people know Al-Tabari? How many people even know Imam Bukhari's name? How many people actually know the full name of the great giants of this tradition? Wouldn't it be great if a grade 6 Sakinah graduate has windows opened to this enormously rich tradition that we have in arts, in sciences, in kalam, in philosophy, in language arts? It's not easy to do. But if you could go to the blog page, please, blog page. During the pandemic, if you could just go here to when the companions encountered a plague. This continue reading, yeah. This is during the pandemic. This is one of the events in our history when Sayyidina Umar is going to Syria, going to Jerusalem. And he comes from Medina and he meets the leader who had gone to Jerusalem 2 years ago, Abdullah bin Jarrah radiallahu anhu. And when he arrived in this small town of Amwas, they said, there is a pandemic, there is a plague here. Please don't go here. Please don't go forward because everybody is dying. Sayyidina Umar has come from Medina with companions who are ready to go to Jerusalem. So they have a council. What do we do? Do we go forward or we don't go forward? They have a consultation. Some companions, and these are very senior companions of the Prophet ﷺ, some companions say, no, we made an intention to go to Jerusalem. We should not run away. Are you running away from death? Death is written. Why are you thinking of going back? 1 day of consultation, suspension of everything. The next day, Sayyidina Umar announces, I'm going back to Medina. Whoever wants to come with me, please come. Sayyidina Umar is the Khalifa. You know how his haiba was. Companions used to be trembling in front of him, but today they say, are you running from death? What kind of leader are you? You told us we're going to Jerusalem and now this little plague and you're going back? This is the kind of history that we have, documented history. Now, he says, I am running from the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the companions say, we don't understand. While this conversation is going on, say now Abdullah bin Rawah comes in. He wasn't present there. And he says, oh, wait a minute. I heard the Prophet ﷺ say that if you are traveling and you hear there is plague in a town, don't enter it. And if you are in the town where the plague is, do not leave it. The matter is decided. Because everyone knew that if we have a confirmed report from the Prophet ﷺ, we have to act upon it. And here is a man, here's a companion, a very senior companion, who says, I heard Sametu. Like he says, I heard it myself with my own ears. Nothing. So we put this up. What can you do with this story? If you could just go down a little bit. In a classroom in Sakinah Circle, a teacher can do, if you could just go down. Just work with the story. Retell the story in your own words. Learn more about the 10 companions who had been Ashra Mubashra, who have been promised Jannah by the Prophet ﷺ, because these are the companions who have been promised the Jannah. Who are the Ansar? Like, look at the questions which can come out of this. Now, how are we going to deliver Alberta program of studies using this story? We are doing math. We are learning how to write. We are learning composition. We are doing map work with the words. If you could just go down there. So work with the numbers. The valley of Sarg was about 13 days from Medina. If the camel caravan could travel 45 kilometers per day, estimate the travel distance from Medina to Sarg. What did we do? We took an authentic event from our history, flipped it around, told the story, brought into the consciousness of our children these blessed names, these companions of the Prophet ﷺ, the time they lived in, and now we are doing math on the same story. We are delivering Alberta program of studies from math, from language arts, from history, from social studies. All of these elements from one little incident from us, and we have thousands and thousands of these events and stories in our tradition. So this kind of transformation, and parents can do the same thing. Who are these people? So this is just one little example of how this program can do things. So if you have any questions, you can go back to that volunteer page, maybe parents under, yeah. Have any questions?